Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news updates, debates and my opinions. If you're new to the channel, please do click that subscribe button. We're on the way to 10,900 subscribers. We're pretty close to it, actually. And if you could click the like button on the video or on the stream as well, that would be absolutely fantastic and I'd be incredibly grateful. There's a fair bit to get into today. We're talking Eddie and Nketiah, Amari Hutchinson. There's a whole list of players that are absolutely leaving on the 30th of June when their contracts expire. Some players left off that list, which is interesting. We'll talk about that as well. Other odds and sods, you know the rules. That's horrible. Bevo says that. I don't want to say it. Šeško we'll be talking about. But look, there's loads of you here. It's a Monday night. England are playing later on, which is always fun. Drax, Alex, Emilio, Mohammed, Icarus, Fizzy, Hyper, Ogler, Junior Films, Red Hair, Leeds Gunner, Kay, Jakob, Keenan, VV Vlad's in the building. There you go, Lukey, Smithy, and many, many more. It is good to see you all. I know some of you at the moment are in the height of exam season. If you had exams today, I hope they went well. If you've got exams this week, I hope they go well. And ultimately, look, I know it's cliche to say it, they don't mean all too much, but you should try your best anyway. John, welcome. Do you think Fulham feel bad for ruining our season, so they're going to give us 30 million for Eddie? Maybe. No, I think it's interesting with Fulham because they've been linked to Smith Rowe. We spoke about the link to Smith Rowe yesterday, and now they've been linked to Eddie Nketiah. Mbappe announced, yeah. I mean, I made a video about this on TikTok. Transfers just don't hit the same anymore because it's not like Mbappe's been announced and we're suddenly like all of us are, oh my god. It's I mean, the way that Fabrizio Romano reports on Mbappe, I know what he's done. I know what he had for dinner last night. I know when he's scheduled to have his next dump. It's unfortunately the way that it's gone these days is just a bit sad. But yeah, he has officially been announced. Which is fun, I suppose. I mean, I found it interesting that they basically announced him the day after they won the Champions League. So all of the hype of winning the Champions League kind of just became a Mbappe attention. There you go. I prefer Ornstein over Fabrizio any day of the week. Me too. Ornstein is the GOAT. Francisco Carter, good to see you as well. I had some hope that maybe he might be joining us till they release the Comunicado Oficial. Yeah, exactly. The England team's out. We'll check that out in a bit. We will check that out in a bit. But look, yeah, the main bit of news, I suppose, is this Eddie Nketiah news. Now, the source for this is Sun. It's basically the Sun, Sun Sport. So take it with a pinch of salt, obviously. Arsenal are reluctantly, I find the word reluctantly being in this quite interesting anyway, but Arsenal are reluctantly set to let Eddie Nketiah leave the club this summer. Sunsport can reveal that Fulham are in pole position and would be willing to pay up to £30 million, but are likely to see competition from Crystal Palace and from Wolves. I would not be reluctant to sell him for £30 million. If a £30 million offer came onto the table, I would shake your hand, say thank you very much, Eddie. It's been a pleasure. But that is good business all round. You get to go to Palace or Fulham or Wolves, where you will be a regular starter. We get 30 million in pure profit. Happy days. So, reluctant, I guess, in the sense that you always want to see, you want to see any academy graduate go on and thrive. But I think we've reached the end of the road for Eddie Nketiah, and 30 million quid, I think is good value in the current market. It's the Sun. Take it with a tablespoon of salt. Yeah, take it with a tablespoon of salt. But do you know what? Actually, sometimes you can actually end up with good reporters working for terrible outlets. So I don't actually know who it was that wrote this. On occasions, I can't remember who it was. Someone was working for even John Cross in the Mirror. Like the Mirror is a crap outlet generally, but John Cross isn't too bad. So thought it was ESR. So apparently they want Smith Rowe as well. Literally yesterday we were speaking about Smith Rowe going there for 30 million. So tell you what, 60 million, you can take both. That's what Ipswich wanted as well. So, I think if we could get 60 million for Nketiah and Smith Rowe, pure profit, we take it. I do think we take it. So, Hopefully we get a little auction. Well, this is the good thing. This is the good thing. If it's genuinely true that you've got Palace, Fulham, Wolves, all interested, Ipswich potentially, that sort of thing is really helpful, right? If you've got multiple clubs battling against each other, you're going to get more money for him. So, and it makes sense. Look, he's still young. He's English. He's a proven goal scorer. So it does make sense for them. Smith Rowe buyback option. Yeah. I mean, putting a buyback option in Smith Rowe's makes more sense than Nketiah's. I don't think we would ever really look at buying back Eddie Nketiah. But I was thinking about it, right? Mashtag at 6, Rory at 6:30. I do love a bit of Mashtag, I am following Mashtag's journey in India. But yeah, look, I think if you sold Eddie Nketiah, and look, as always, Šeško isn't my number one choice, but I wouldn't mind it. If you sold Nketiah for 30 and you bought Šeško for 50, there or thereabouts, a 20 million outlay net to bring in a player like Šeško, effectively, even if you say that Kai Havertz starts next season, Kai Havertz, at least at the start of next season, Kai Havertz is the starting striker. If we upgrade from Nketiah being the backup or being a bench option to Šeško being a bench option, I think that's a sizable upgrade for 20 million net. And of course, Šeško has a much higher ceiling and is only just turned 21 years old. So I think that's a huge upgrade to make for 20 million quid. It wouldn't be bad at all. I can understand Šeško. I reckon after the second half of the season, form at 9, Havertz could get 30 goals and assists. Yeah, I think Havertz could get that. Fabrizio ruined the hype of Mbappe to Real Madrid. It ruins the hype of everything. Even today's announcement. I knew today's announcement was happening this evening because Fabrizio Romano told us all it was happening this evening. Like, nothing. There is nothing out of the blue at all anymore. I'd rather have ESR than 30 million, personally, but I think I'm alone on that. I don't think you're alone on that. I just think the issue is, right, here's the issue. I could very easily see us, let's say we kept Smith Rowe. I could very easily see Smith Rowe having another season just like the one he's had, where we barely see him. His transfer value plummets because he's another year older. He's still never broken through. And we look at it and we go, well, was it worth, I don't know, 15 million in terms of the transfer value that drops? Was it worth 15 million to have Smith Rowe on the bench and getting 300 minutes this season? And I think the answer would be no. I think that's the problem. You should stop following Fabrizio. I did last summer and it's much better. Yeah, but I see it anyway because everyone retweets him. I mean, I could mute him, I suppose, but do you think any of the departures will not go this window, such as waiting for ESR, then moving on in January? Yeah, probably. I think if you look at that whole list of players that we think we should probably sell this summer, I think the chances of getting all of them sold this summer is incredibly slim. It's just that's such a quantity of business to do. I don't think we will. More of them could well go in January. Who those ones will be, I'm not sure. Vic, good to see you. No worries. Yeah, which ones it would be, I'm not sure. But what I could see is I think a lot of the fringe players will go, right? The Reece Nelsons, I think they will go. When it comes to even Smith Rowe, when it comes to players like Zinchenko or maybe Kivior, I could see one of them or two of them staying until January because it's easier to sell them in January because they can walk straight into other teams anyway. But we'll see. Jakob, it shouldn't be a rip. Someone tell Jakob that there's not a rip. He might just need to refresh. Did you hear about Napoli wants Tomiyasu and Smith Rowe for Osimhen? I've not seen that anywhere. No. I don't know what the source is for that. But I mean, surely they'd want cash as well. The thing is, it's actually incredibly rare for that sort of deal to happen. It's incredibly... that's the sort of thing that, like, realistically, bad sources write that sort of thing because it sounds fun. Like, Tomiyasu and Smith Rowe one way, Osimhen the other. it's incredibly rare that even swap deals in general, but especially involving 3 different players, it's incredibly rare that those happen, because the problem with a deal like that is that it's not just like if you're buying a player where eventually the 2 clubs have to agree on the value of that one player, right? If we're buying Šeško, Arsenal and Leipzig have to agree on the value of Šeško. Once they've done that, you buy the player. When it comes to a deal like that, Arsenal and Napoli have to agree on the value of Osimhen, the value of Smith Rowe, and the value of Tomiyasu. The chances of all of that happening are incredibly slim. It's very difficult to do. Also, in that deal, like, we'd be valuing Smith Rowe if we're talking about the release clause of 113 million or whatever it is. You'd be looking at us valuing Smith Rowe and Tomiyasu at like 60 million each, which is wild, absolutely wild. Napoli have wanted Tommy for a while. I mean, look, maybe it's more likely that they just buy Tomiyasu and they buy Smith Rowe and we buy Osimhen and we just have a good relationship with them. That's more likely, but again, I'd be surprised. I think it's far more likely that we lose Kivior than Tomiyasu this window. Did you hear Gyökeres's agent has agreed to sell to Arsenal if Rory Talks Football starts an OnlyFans with Lee Gunner? Right. Well, is it worth it for Gyökeres? No. I would probably have to abandon the steam train at that point. I'd rather, frankly speaking, I'd rather stand in front of a steam train than do that. What do you think Zinni's value is? I think probably 30 million. I think probably 30 million is what I would go for. Yeah, I don't know why Hype has come out with that one. What a vile thought you've just put in so many people's heads there. Yeah, I think about 30 million for Zinni. If you could come close to breaking even on him, I think that would be spectacular. Can we get 100 million from outgoings this summer? Yes. I believe 100 million should be the target. I believe if we sell 100 million, I think that means we can spend about 250 million. And I think that's plausible, especially if you're talking 30 million for Eddie, 30 million for Smith Rowe. I don't know, 15 million for Reece Nelson. You're up at 75 million just from those 3. You've got Tierney, 15 million. Nuno Tavares, maybe even only 5 million. There's a lot of sales that we can make, and then you've got the likes of Thomas Partey, Jakub Kivior would command a decent fee. So yeah, I do think there's a lot. I do think there's a lot of money that we can make. What's the most you expect us to spend on a single player, and who? I think it'll be about 80 million. I don't know who that will be, but I don't think we'll see another £100 million player. I don't think we'll see another £100 million player. But I could see us, and some of the players that are currently being quoted at 100 million, I could see us getting for like closer to 80 million. So I think it'll be a midfielder. I think it'll be a midfielder. I couldn't tell you who, but I think it'll be a midfielder more than likely. If we got Gyökeres, Kudus, Guimarães, and a backup keeper, do you think we can push for likes of Champions League and Premier League? Yeah. Do you know what? Even with the squad we've got now, I think we should push for the Champions League and Premier League next season, even with the squad we've got now. And we're only going to improve on that. So, do you follow cricket? I follow international cricket, yeah. I do follow international cricket. Will our sales record for individual sales get broken this summer? At present, 35 million. No, I don't think so. If you think about the players we've been talking about selling, I'd be surprised if any of them break the 35 million barrier. I'd be surprised if any of them break that. Pekka has subscribed or become a member for 2 months in a row. Pekka, absolute legend, long-time supporter. Thank you so much. He says, if Chelsea value Hutchinson and Lukaku at 30 million, we have to sell our player as well. That's true, but you've also got to bear in mind, Chelsea haven't got 30 million for either of those players yet. So, it's all well and good them valuing those two at that value, but they have to actually find a buyer for them. People are talking about the England squad, so let's quickly look at the England lineup. against Bosnia and Herzegovina. Wow, interesting. Pickford in goal. Ezra Konsa at right back. Dunk, Guehi, Trippier at left back. Fuck, you know. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Gallagher, and I mean, I would imagine it will be Eze there in midfield. Cole Palmer off the right, Bowen off the left, and Ollie Watkins through the middle. Fuck. Jesus. Who's on the bench? Ramsdale, Henderson, Trafford, Kwanzaa, Branthwaite, Gomez, Wharton, Jones, Rice, Maddison, Kane, Tony, and Grealish. It's not looking good, Brev. Kieran Trippier is the only left back. This is why I don't think we're winning the Euros. I don't think we're winning the Euros. I know a lot of players we still have to come back, of course. Look, you're going to add, realistically, into this team, you're going to add Rice, you're going to add Bellingham, you're going to add Foden, you're going to add Saka, you're going to add Kane. But I do still think you're going to add Stones. I mean, realistically, this is nowhere near. How many of this team do you actually think this team? It's genuinely plausible that Jordan Pickford is the only player in this team that actually starts the opening game of the Euros. But watching it tonight is not going to be too fun. Watching it tonight is not going to be too fun. Is it Palmer Cam, Bowen right wing, Eze left wing? Maybe. I'm trying to work it out. It's either Eze's not going to be playing on the right. The right will either be Palmer or Bowen. It depends really what the midfield do. The problem is if Palmer plays in front of Gallagher and Trent Alexander-Arnold, that's a weak midfield. I think it'll be Eze in midfield, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll wait and see. But either way, yeah, it's not going to be a fun watch. We are. Come on, Portugal. Thoughts on Nusa as a Saka backup? He wouldn't be the number one for me. Nusa wouldn't be the number one for me, personally. Edu couldn't sell water in a desert. It's not all about Edu, though, to be fair. Edu, and look, Edu gets a lot of the praise when we make good signings. So I think as part of that, he has to bear the responsibility of the bad sales. It's not just Edu. It's not just Edu. Is Kai starting? 60 million down the drain. Kai Havertz scores again. Yes, he is. It's interesting. I even find this German team interesting. I mean, what the hell's a FOTMOB? FOTMOB are on thin ice. FOTMOB are on thin ice, to be quite honest with you. In what world is Pascal Gross playing at left back? They are on thin ice. Anyway, Kai Havertz is starting, so we'll keep an eye on that. Thoughts on Musiala? Doesn't look to be resigning at Bayern. I like Musiala. If Musiala was ever available, I'd like us to be in for him. But if Saudi clubs give big money for Casemiro, we should push the same values for Partey. They're not going to. There was a nonsense article today that Casemiro was going to go to United, was going to go from United to Saudi for 75 to 90 million. Nonsense. Again, if you ever see an article like that, like this one was from Court Offside, just know that's a terrible source. They're playing on this thing where like people think that Saudi Arabia just throw money as a gift, basically, at clubs that need to sell their players. It's not going to happen. Saudi Arabia have not spent that much money on transfer fees. They spend a lot of money on wages to encourage the players to go out there. But they don't spend much on transfer fees. They haggled Liverpool down to like 12 million quid for Henderson. Fabinho was 40 million quid. Casemiro for nearly 90 million. That's the same amount they spent on Neymar. Like, it's just nonsense, but people buy it. Oh, John, thank you very, very much. 249 with the super chat. And he says, do you think Palmer starts for the Serbia game? Yes, potentially. Well, Gareth Southgate said that Saka's still being rested. So Saka is still being rested. He might be available for Friday, but it may well be that the first game that Saka plays is the start of the Euros. They're being really, caught offside is salad cream. As sources go, caught offside is salad cream. But yeah, when it comes to Saka, they're being very cautious managing his minutes. So it may well be. It'll be interesting, right? Because generally speaking, managers, the game before that game against Serbia's the opening game. What am I on about? I'm a donkey. I was thinking about bloody the second friendly game. Serbia's the opening game. Yes, I think. Do I think Parma starts? No. Fuck it now. Switch on. No, I don't think Cole Palmer starts against Serbia. I think Saka starts against Serbia. Unless Palmer starts off the left, which I'm not sure he will, then I don't think he starts. I wouldn't mind Saka being rested for the whole tournament. Yeah, with Arsenal hat on, I wouldn't mind. Rate these incomings out of 10. Hanko, Douglas Luiz, Rabiot, Bakayoko, and Šeško. I don't mind it, actually. Assuming that Rabiot was kind of coming in as a fourth choice. I don't mind it. I like it. I'll take it. Is Ornstein Subway Ranch? Yeah. Ornstein is Subway Ranch, but he still exists, and Subway Ranch doesn't. So, anyway, on top of the Nketiah to Fulham news, there was actually a part of that article as well that said Everton are potentially interested in a year-long loan of Eddie Nketiah. An option which could appeal to Arsenal, but there are hopes that if any clubs want Nketiah, they can start a bidding war that will drive up the final price for him to decent levels. I don't want Nketiah to go out on loan. I just don't see the benefit of Nketiah going out on loan. Sell him now, get the cash, the raw profit, reinvest it. I don't see how a loan move to Everton, where he's not even guaranteed to start ahead of Dominic Calvert-Lewin anyway, I don't see it. I don't see that happening. So, do we sack Southgate? If we don't win the Euros, yes. I sack him. Yeah, we do. Some other news. This one was a funny one. Can't even remember. What was the source for this? Someone tagged me in this today. The source was like gone off salad cream at this point. It was like, this source was like putting gone off salad cream on your cereal. Arsenal have a strong interest in Douglas Luiz, whose contract ends in 2026, and renewal with Aston Villa is stalling. That, factual information. Aston Villa need to sell an important player to comply with profit and sustainability rules and value him at over 50 million euros. 50 million euros, what's that, like 40 million quid? That is about half of what Aston Villa value him at. So I can't even remember the name of the source. But yeah, 50 million euros is ridiculous for Douglas Luiz. It would be, you'd be looking at 80 million, realistically, I think, for Douglas Luiz. But look, to be fair, the contract does end in 2026. And if he's not renewing, they probably have to sell him this summer. Otherwise, it gets to next summer. He's got a year left. He's in trouble. What's Balogun up to now? Not a lot. Had a bad season. I think he only completed 90 minutes 5 times, scored like 7 goals all season or something. Had a bad season. So there you go. So that's that news. This news coming from Inside the Cannon. Again, I'm not entirely sure how good Inside the Cannon is as a source. Arsenal are preparing a formal offer for Benjamin Šeško. The club are working hard to complete the deal before Euro 2024. Which is interesting. Run the likes up, please. Yeah, if we can get to 100 likes, you've been absolutely... I know I witter on about it. I do my own head in wittering on about clicking the like button, but genuinely, the channel has been flying recently, and I'm incredibly grateful. And those of you that are watching live, clicking the like button, you do massively help. If you're not watching live and you're watching on the video, still clicking the like button does help. So please and thank you very, very much. But yeah. He's the only time we've oversold. Possibly. I think we got good money for Willock. I think we got good money for Iwobi. Inside the Cannon is AFC Bell. Yeah, but he rebranded, and I'm not sold in it. I'm not even sure it is AFC Bell. But either way, it's not the AFC. It's not the AFC Bell that broke the party. I'm not convinced by it. He started tweeting in English, for starters. I'm not convinced. Is there a difference in a live like and a catch-up like? The live like just pushes the live to more people right here, right now, which helps, basically. Yeah. If we can sign Osimhen for 90 to 100 mil, would you rate him as a better signing than Šeško? It would be a statement. It depends what you could get Šeško for. If you could get Šeško, if you said to me Šeško for 50 or Osimhen for 100, I think Šeško for 50 is a better value signing. Osimhen, I think, is a right here, right now, is a better player. Osimhen is a better player right here, right now than Šeško, but I don't think he's worth twice as much. And Osimhen's transfer value, his release clause value at 113 million, really worries me. You spend that money on a striker, Osimhen has to come in and hit the ground running instantly. And I wouldn't even want. I've said before, I don't want whoever we buy as the striker to even start at the start of next season. If you've just spent 113 million, you've got to start them. Every question to Arteta, if Osimhen isn't starting, will be, why have you spent 100 million on a player to not even start? So then you're forced almost into starting him straight away. And if he doesn't hit the ground running, especially if you look at the way that the media and everyone jumps on an Arsenal player if they don't perform well, I just think that it's a huge gamble. Gyökeres or Osimhen, if they were equal price, Gyökeres for me. Should Arsenal try? I think Gyökeres is just a better profile, personally. Osimhen feels like Belotti, valued at 100 million by the owner, never leaves and turns out average. Yeah, I mean, I think he's better than Belotti, but I think that kind of, the gist of it is, I think, is correct. If we were to go to Napoli, Kvara or Lobotka would be the ones to take over Osimhen. Yeah, I don't disagree. Kvara is an interesting one. I'm actually not sold on. I'm not sold on Kvaratskhelia. In the same way, I'm not sold on Rafa Leao either. There's quite a few names bouncing around, these high-value players that I'm not 100% sold on, really. And I'd actually feel a bit more comfortable dropping kind of 50 million on someone that's got room to grow, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Another bit of news, not directly related to Arsenal, but obviously, if you watch a lot, I'm a fan of Ousmane Diomande from Sporting Lisbon. The sort of central centre-back that I could see him being a backup to both Saliba and Gabriel, all in one. But obviously, he's 20 years old, still raw. But apparently, Sporting Lisbon are willing to sell Ousmane Diomande for between 50 and 60 million euros, despite his release clause being 80 million euros. So they may actually let him go for 20 to 30 million less than his release clause is. Now, you could look at that and say, well, that's quite worrying. He started the season really well for them. Truthfully, towards the end of the season, he actually wasn't a starting player, and now they're looking at potentially selling him for less than his release clause. So, maybe you look at that and worry about it. But I think, from what I saw at the start of the season, I think that represents good value. If you could get him for 50 million euros, that's, that's what, 40, 45 million quid. I think that's decent. Of course, they want to sell. He's not that good. That's a steal in a bad way. Yeah, Francisco's not a fan. Francisco is not a fan. Look, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about him, but I thought he was decent. Is it just me, or have you been attracting more trolls recently? There was the Muppet guy last night. Maybe. I mean, I have very few trolls, to be honest, compared to other channels. The community we've got on this channel, I have to say, it is sensational. I feel like the intelligence of the chat is very high. We get a couple of trolls here and there, but overall, pretty good. Antonio Silva from Benfica is the centre-back we should be looking at. Well, I even think at Sporting, Ignacio is the centre-back that we should be looking at from Sporting. To be honest, I've watched way more of Sporting than anyone else, so Antonio Silva I'm not so sure about. I've not watched as much of him play, but true, this is a lovely community. It is. I appreciate you all. 242 people, less than 100 likes. Terrible community. Absolutely terrible community. Shocking. No, you're not. But please do click the like button. What do you think will be our summer window with costs? I think we sell about 100 million. I think we spend about. I think we sell about 100 million. I think we spend about 250 million. Isn't Ignacio's release clause even cheaper than Diamande? Yeah, I think it's 60 million euros. I think Ignacio's 60 million euros release clause. There you go. Francisco agrees with me on that one. Antonio Silva, another fraud. Ignacio, the true one. There we go. There we go. And we hit 100 likes. Sensational community. Just noticed you were wearing the new kit. Looks incredible. Yeah, I like it. I like it. And do you know what? When you're actually wearing it, it doesn't look like a bottle. I know people said it looks like a bottle. When you're actually wearing it, it doesn't. So, happy days. Happy days. 100 likes. There we go. There we go. By the way, I have an unbelievable opportunity coming this week. An unbelievable opportunity, which is keep an eye out for it. Keep an eye out for it. It's going to be, I'm excited. I'm excited. Are you watching Sidemen Inside? Really recommend watching it. I haven't started it yet. I probably will. I probably will. I'm late. What have I missed? Is Palmer still better than Saka? Christ. Yeah, I had to. We were arguing on Footy Judge Mo's channel earlier. It was on the Rational League, which is meant to be a highly rational show. But Dan, the Chelsea fan, oh dear. Not good, not rational. Putting Palmer over Saka, but like as if Saka was average. Poor. The second kit is going to get fire. I like the third kit. I'm really looking forward to getting the third kit. Is there a TIFO stream today? No, not today. There will be a Twitch stream tonight, though. We'll be live on Twitch from about 10:15 as normal, but there's not going to be a TIFO stream. Your possible last four for the Euros? I can't remember exactly how I can't remember because, like, it's all set up, so I can't remember exactly what the outcomes can be. If I was to say the four teams that I think will do the best at the Euros, I would say England, France, the Netherlands, and Germany. I think those four. But I like Portugal as well. I like Portugal as well. I'm not sure. We need to VAR check the entire stream. That was clear and obvious. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. It was bad. Anyway, look, it is time for Guess the Gooner, the game where I give you 5 clues. We're going back to the current one. We're going back to 5 clues for this one. I'm just going to keep jumping around. Sometimes it's going to be 5 clues. Sometimes it's going to be career path. Sometimes it's going to be the way we did it yesterday. But today it is 5 clues. So get your fingers on your keyboards because we are starting now. Clue number 1. This player has scored 18 goals in 115 games for Arsenal. This player scored 18 goals in 115 games for Arsenal. They won 2 Community Shields at Arsenal. Clue number 3. They made their Arsenal debut in September 2018. Clue number 3. They made their Arsenal debut in September 2018. Clue number 4, they made 3 appearances for England. Clue number 4, they made 3 appearances for England. And clue number 5, they went on loan spells at Leipzig and at Huddersfield. Clue number 5, they went on loan spells at Leipzig and at Huddersfield. There you go. Who is the player? Who got it first? Right, today I really need to switch on. After yesterday, honestly, I had nightmares after yesterday's performance. Yesterday's VAR was abysmal. So today we are taking this seriously. We are taking this seriously today. And there we go. The winner, it's Jakob. It is Jakob. It was ESR Emil Smith Rowe. And Jakob got it first, in my opinion. Please do feel free to double check me. But there you go. He got it very, very early, actually, compared to anyone else. James Bidder was second. Ryan Henderson was third. Ash was fourth. And Drakar was fifth. So there you go. There you go. Congratulations to Jakob. There you go. Check complete. VAR is happy today. VAR, check complete. Goal given, Jakob. Congratulations, Jakob. And now it's time for Guess the Non-Gooner. It is time for Guess the Non-Gooner. I am going to give you the entire career path of a player who does not and has not played for Arsenal. And you have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks football community, but not as much respect as Jakob currently has. This player started their career at River Plate. They started their career at River Plate. They moved to Corinthians. They moved to Corinthians. They moved to West Ham United. They moved to West Ham United. They went on loan to Liverpool. They went on loan from West Ham to Liverpool. They then moved permanently to Liverpool. They then moved permanently to Barcelona. They then moved to HBCFFC in China. And then they moved to Estudiantes LP. They moved to Estudiantes LP. So River Plate, Corinthians, West Ham United, Liverpool on loan, Liverpool permanently, Barcelona, HBCFFC, and Estudiantes LP. There you go. Plenty of you have got it in the chat, but who was first? It was not Carlos Tevez. It was not Bobby Firmino. Not Casemiro. Right. Make sure I get this right. Make sure we don't get VAR checked. And there we go. It is Ryan Henderson who got it first. It was Javier Mascherano. Ryan Henderson got it first. Congratulations to Ryan Henderson. Sportcat got it second. VV Vlad got it third. Fizzy got it fourth. And James Bidder got it fifth. So there you go. Congratulations. Congratulations to Ryan and to Jakob. Ryan Henderson, spot on. There we go. VAR, goal given. We've smashed it. 2 out of 2. You love to see it. You love to see it. But yeah, look, in terms of the, just we'll wrap it up with what I think the England squad should be for the start of the Euros. I genuinely think, right, Pickford in goal. I think, based on the fact that we just don't have a left back, if Luke Shaw is not fit to play, I think you go Trent at right back. I think you go Stones, Maguire, Joe Gomez, and that really becomes a back three when we're in possession, and you let Trent go. I then say Rice, Bellingham, Foden. Rice, Bellingham, Foden. Saka, Kane. And then it's that left wing spot, which is a tricky one. But I think probably Anthony Gordon. Interesting that they've changed this now. They have changed this now. So now they think it's Bowen off the right, Palmer in the 10, Eze off the left. Interesting. Your midfield isn't very balanced. What, Rice, Bellingham, and Foden? Do you know why you say that? The reason you say that is because people now have the idea that Bellingham is a 10. And I don't think he is. I think Bellingham's an 8. I think Bellingham he played this season at 10 and he was very good there. The problem is, right? The alternative to that midfield is Rice, Mainu, Bellingham. But then you force Foden out to the left. And I think forcing Foden out to the left does more damage than bringing Bellingham a bit deeper than he plays for Real Madrid. Which, by the way, until he was at Madrid, Bellingham had never played as a 10. It's only at Madrid that he's done that. So, yeah, I think you go Rice, Bellingham, Foden. You get the best out of Foden, which is important. And I think it'll be fine. Look, to be honest, the other thing people forget, against the majority of the teams in the Euros, especially in the group stage, right? Declan Rice alone is enough in the midfield defensively. Declan Rice can hold down the midfield defensively, at least in the group stage. So I think that's a better midfield than Rice, Mainu, and Bellingham. But Bellingham isn't very creative, though. You need a deep line creative. Yeah, but we don't really have one of those. We don't really have one of those. So Declan Rice is the closest we've got, really. Honestly, think they shouldn't have fucked up with Benny Blanco, who would be amazing alongside Rice as holding mid. Yeah, I agree. Well, I'd actually. Do you know what? Genuinely, I'd be playing Ben White at left back if the option is Trippier or Ben White. I'm playing Ben White at left back. The difference of centre Foden and wing Foden is massive. Why I never understood the Saka comparison. I agree. Who would be your dark horse for the Euros? The Netherlands. I think the Netherlands are at about 20 to 1, I think they are, or 18 to 1. I think they'd be my my underdog. The only issue they've got is Buddy, the coach. White would be centre back for me. He'd be centre back ahead of these two. It's an incredibly versatile player that should be in the squad. But look, hopefully once Southgate moves, he'll come back into the England setup. Actual dark horse. We were talking about this the other day. I don't think there's an actual dark horse. Like the biggest outsider that I think has any chance of winning is the Netherlands. Looking at every team below that, I just don't think anyone even comes close to it, truthfully. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Who's your Euro flop? Italy. Wait, are Italy even in it? Am I going mental? Are Italy in the Euros? They aren't. Yeah, they are. Yeah, Italy's my flop because I think they're going out of the group. Italy's my flop because I think they're going out of the group. Germany are my dark horse. Yeah, but again, so Germany, I didn't feel like I could do dark horse. I didn't feel like because they're like the third or fourth favorite. So I think Germany will do very well. I just don't think they could be the dark horse. But there we go. Anyway, look, that is going to be the end of the stream. I'm going to go and watch the England game. Thank you very, very much for watching. As always, if you could like and subscribe before you jump off, I'll be live on Twitch as normal. Link is in the description for the Twitch channel. But other than that, I'll be back tomorrow night at 6:30. As always, have a fantastic evening, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Goodbye.